Oh, so are we live, E? Are we
We are
live on?
live. We are
We are
live.
live. We are live.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I just want to welcome everybody to this show. I'm so hyped about working with Anissa, Candy, and E Digger. This is the idea I had thought of one night, and I was just like, I've been, like I've said, I've always wanted to be on air with Anissa, E Digger, and stuff like that. So, and then Candy, we have history on the Moon Man show on WOL 1450 AM back in the day. She was the sportscaster, and at that time I was known as classy but nasty, that's back in the day. But I thought of putting a show together so that we could bridge the culture gap between Baltimore and DC. I think it's both cultures are just so rich in terms of Black culture, and I thought it would just be great for us to kind of bridge that gap. I've always heard of a rivalry here between DC and Baltimore, and I don't really know the history of it, but we will have guests to come on to talk about those things, locals and all that other stuff. But this show is just dedicated to just bridging the culture gap between Baltimore and DC, and bringing on some of the organizations that are in Baltimore so you can see what's going on in Baltimore. Because you always get Baltimore gets this really bad rap, for violence, crime, and just, drugs and that sort of stuff. So shedding a little light to the culture in Baltimore is just great. And the same here in DC. I mean, DC is known for having a lot of culture just because it's DC, but just kind of going into parts of the Black community that don't get any media attention or recognition in that sort of stuff. So that is what this show is about. And I am Nova Pearl. I am one of the hosts of the show, and there's three other hosts. And I'm gonna let them. Obviously, I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. So whoever.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Anissa Maureen.
Oh, you want me to go? You want me to go? I'm your girl,
Ladies first.
Candy. And that's all I can say. Everybody loves candy. I like to tell you, whether it's sugar free, chocolate, whatever, everybody loves candy. Come on with it.
Yeah.
All right. I am E Digger, the man you all know and love, CEO and host of Charm City Direct TV here in Baltimore. You may have seen me around, may have not. So welcome
Also,
to the
one of
show.
the hardest working people I know in podcasting.
I wouldn't say all that.
You be on like 1,000 shows at one time. 1,000 shows at one time. But yeah, let's get this show started. I mean, there's a lot that has happened, and to be honest with you, I'm feeling just a little bit of pressure. You know what I mean? Because it's so much news out there. It's so many things happening, so many different stories, so many different names.
Yeah.
And so, and also so many different movements. A lot of people are trying to start movements. Kyrie Irving is like trending in the news right now. Candy, do you know anything
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. Some of the old school players are a little pissed off at Kyrie Irving. But if you know anything about Kyrie Irving or follow his career, you know he's a big controversial. So Kyrie Irving's thing was basically let's just not play. If we don't play, let's just see what happens with that. But some of the old school players, well, they felt like he was kind of going against LeBron because he's kind of game to play in Orlando in the bubble for the NBA. Of course, no fans, but everybody will be in the bubble. But Kyrie said, "Well, let's just not play." But I'm kind of partial. I'm on the fence on both. I feel like if they didn't play, that would be very profound. It would speak, to levels of who we are in this country and what we represent, and how we continue to make this country thrive. But on the same note, sports allows a lot of young Black athletes to make money that in other fields they probably would not be allowed to make. It allows them to have generational wealth. So I feel like if they do play, they should have some demands, which the NBA Coalition has come up with some demands. Avery Bradley, who is a role player, you have to kind of be in the NBA loop to know who he is, but he's a damn good player, defensive player, plays for the Lakers, and he has just kind of come from the forefront like a sneaky assassin, letting everybody know, like, look, let's get some more representation, meaning Black representation, leadership, management in the NBA if you want us to continue to play, which is, I believe in. How is it that the NBA, NFL are 80 and 70% African American, but yet and still we have no coaches. We're not in management or anything like that. So I think that that's a something great to propose, you know. But of course, continue to get your money and make these sponsors be accountable. Stop putting money back in their pockets. Make them put money in our community. You know what I mean? The NBA has a slogan: NBA cares. Me personally, I feel like if NBA cares, let's put some schools, community centers, in all these different communities to give kids something to do. Maybe on Saturday nights. I remember in Missouri, Mayor Cleaver had something called Hot Summer Nights when we were kids, which was really cool.
Yep.
From 13 to 16, you go, they play the cool music, you can buy pop and chips, and it was cool. You know, have little dance battles or whatnot, have proper security, of course, and have give things for the kids to do. NBA cares. Teach African American studies, teach health, teach technology, teach these things. You know, athletes go to these. You say what?
No, I'm sorry. So, like, in other words, just standing behind their slogan.
Absolutely. They go to all these D1 colleges that they promote, the Dukes, the North Carolinas. Well, then let's use these educations, let's use these degrees, and let's teach the youth, let's teach our kids. So I think that those are things that the NBA could do. But I again, athletes continue to keep their feet on the necks of the owners and the people that are in charge. Adam Silver is a damn good commissioner. So whenever we say something, he listens. So I guarantee the NBA, if they come back, which I do agree they will, there's something that will be said by the NBA.
That's what's up.
Absolutely, that's good.
I agree.
Yeah, but Kyrie Irving, he's a good young dude. The older guys are kind of pissed because they said he didn't start this movement until they told him he couldn't go. So he said, "Oh, I can't go. It's a movement. Ain't nobody going. Ain't nobody going."
That's what Skip Bayless said on Undisputed with Shannon Sharp,
Yeah.
and he was just like, "You're not even going.
You're not going. You're not invited.
You're telling people to boycott something that you're not even invited to. You're
trying to just go and hang out.
Yeah. Doesn't even work like that. And like he said, Skip kind of like really put it to him, like, you really don't have that leadership gene. You weren't born with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
just like, and it's like you are undermining, in a sense, LeBron James when he has been the biggest advocate in the NBA thus far. So I don't know, like, I didn't see it until this morning. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on with Kyrie Irving? So, you know, I had to throw it to you. I'm like, I know she knows.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they talked about that all week. He's off the chain, but Patrick Beverly about a week or two ago also made a statement. If LeBron James says that we play, then we play, which I thought that was a cute statement. But shut up, Patrick. You know what I mean? Just you just be lucky that you get to guard LeBron James. You know what I mean? Coming out of your situation. So I whenever people say things about LeBron James, I think that it's absolutely crazy. I think that as a black man in America, like, whether he's the greatest over Michael Jordan or not, I think as a black man in America, he's like wonderful. To be number one in high school, to be followed the way that he has been, and to almost have a squeaky clean record for 20 damn years. You know what I mean? Like, black wife, black children that have good records, you know, good quality young black family. Like, don't speak against that man. His friends are very prolific, profound businessmen in the industry right now. Like, don't say anything against them. Even if you don't like them, just tell your buddies behind closed doors. Like, don't say it in public. You know what I mean? Just don't do it. It's just not the right thing to do. Like when Jesse Jackson said something about Obama. Shut up. Say it in behind closed doors. Don't tell everybody. Jesus Christ, we got to do better with that shit.
Yeah.
But you know what that is? We're in a day and time where good news or bad news gets news, and it gets the reputation no matter what. That's why Trump does what he does. You know, it's like he doesn't care about what he say or do. He just gets out here and he say it because either way, it's going to get what he wants the most, and that is the attention. And even the haters want the attention. They get the attention just for being a hater.
And I think
you want to know the greatest thing about this season right now is Gemini season. You know what I mean? So I am a Gemini. So to find out who's all the crazy ass Geminis in the world, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Trump's a Gemini, Kanye's a Gemini, Tupac was a Gemini. Come on, these people are batshit crazy. Patti LaBelle wearing heels at 80. You crazy. And all these people are crazy. You ain't wearing heels making banana pudding. Patty, quit lying. You got them damn house shoes on. You ain't wearing them heels. Quit tearing that to them people at 80 years old. Stop it, Amy Patty. I just,
she was still
these
making
Geminis is crazy.
Did you say Prince? Did you also add Prince to that?
You said what?
Prince. Did you add Prince to that?
Prince, come on, cuz you know for Purple Rain. You know Prince is crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Like Geminis, these people, I don't know how he was in a leadership position. Come on. I don't know why he ran. He did it like Joe Exotic. He was like, I'm gonna run for president. And they was like, no, you ain't. He was like, shit, watch me. And he was like, I won, cuz I won.
Right. He said he was gonna run. And you talking about Trump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was gonna run, and everybody was like, yeah, whatever.
You
see what happened. You see what
happened.
He
was shooting craps. He was playing spades.
Could happen. Anything
he was playing spades at the Trump Palace. And he was like, I'm gonna run for president. They said, no, you ain't. He's like, yeah, I am.
Playing spades. Not playing spades. You think Trump know how to play spades? Or do you think he even knows what that card game is?
Listen, in the 80s, he rode with Tyson, he rode with Russell, he rode with all the cool blacks. They was drinking Coke 45 and playing spades.
Yeah.
That's when Trump was cool.
Yeah. Taking all their money.
Yeah.
Taking all their money.
Come to my hotel. Watch the documentary on like his rise. It is actually really, really interesting. I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but I watched it, and it was just talking about. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because everybody loved him. Like he was like this lovable guy. Like he would walk in the room, and the whole room would light up, and he was just so cool. Everybody wanted to be around him. But as he began to like really get the real estate game on lock, he just started to like change completely. And then once he started buying casinos, it was a wrap. Like once he started like building casinos and stuff like that, it was a wrap. His dad, if you really do some
research on Trump, I believe his dad was a Klansman.
His dad was straight mobbing on people, like
like his dad was off the chain. So he been a gangster for a long time. Like he's a gangster of all gangsters right now. He said United States gangster.
As you rise to the top, though, you're gonna lose people. So was it that he really was a terrible person? Granted, he probably was, because there's like 3 sides to a story. Or was it just a bunch of people that just didn't want to see him rise to the top? Because you have rappers including him in their own lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if that was just the case. Like anybody who rises to the top, you're going to lose people in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But I think that a part of him, it was his personality change.
Yeah.
His personality change. I mean, anybody who rises to the top, the people who were there in the beginning, and really genuinely, you have genuine relationships with those people are going to stay there. Yeah. But when your personality changes and you start feeling yourself, you lose friends quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly. You lose friends, and then you form enemies. You know what I mean? Like, that's why it's like, I've always, like, as I've gotten older, depending on like certain people I'm around, I'm not going to be like real flossy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes like it just gets taken the wrong way. And I've learned that out here. Like when people, I don't know, sometimes like the mentality of people is just really, really messed up. And so sometimes you kind of have to like cater to that just to keep the peace. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think that his personality changed and he just wasn't the same person. He lost friends on the way. And then he was also making bad investments as well. Yeah. Like some of those casinos didn't work out. Yeah, they didn't work out at all. And his dad had to come in and make a bet on put $1 million on the table. Like he had some friends walk in, drop $1 million on the table, and they rolled out because he knew the casino was going to fall. So his dad was like bailing him out money and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so I mean that definitely would change you when you have $1 million on the table. One thing I took away from the documentary was how they said that he was so good at making people believe in any and everything he said. Like when he bought the apartment complex and he turned it into condos, which was almost unheard of at that time. Mm-hmm. So when he turned it into condos, it was crappy wood floor, like just everything was cheaply made. And he would just be like, oh no, it's fantastic. It's great. Like, and people would go in there and see that this was the case, but because of what he said, they just thought it was great. Yeah. Like that's serious influence right there.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you that he is a Gemini, and if you read the traits of a Gemini, if a Gemini is not balanced, they are one crazy narcissistic. Say it for me, college student.
Narcissistic.
There you go. Crazy as hell. He will make you believe shit is gold. He will make you believe that Geminis love people. The people love them.
But that's
I'm
crazy.
telling you, that's who he is.
Look what he's doing now. Because you got all these people that voted for him, and they believe everything he say. Everything. Mm-hmm. His little Twitter thumbs be working.
Yeah.
And they believe it. They go back and like, yes, my president said that. Do
you think that they really believe that he is basically what made Juneteenth famous? Like he said he made Juneteenth.
I can't believe that.
Hey, we gotta talk about Juneteenth. Like he really said out of his mouth, "I made Juneteenth famous."
He said nobody has heard of it before until he started talking. Yeah.
Honestly, we can. I don't like him. I understand the way that he thinks in terms of marketing, and for him to make that statement, I do understand why he believes that. You understand what I'm saying? Because the controversy surrounding Trump, Juneteenth, everything that's been going on, corporations have come out and made it holidays. Yeah. And that is too because of the Black voice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we didn't have anything to do with corporations making this a holiday. But I will say when Trump jumped on it, it blew up. Like on all spectrums, just not in the Black community. He didn't make Juneteenth famous in the Black community.
He didn't.
He used his white voice, and that shit went worldwide, people started making decisions based on who we are. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, he didn't make it famous in the Black community, but at the end of the day, he did get that shit popped. Right. Like I know we hate to say it. Yeah. We hate to say it. We hate to admit it, but he did get that shit popping. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is stay woke.
Yeah, which then goes back into what we talk about is how do our white brothers and sisters help Black people further the movement, whether they knowingly or unknowingly. If they're just speaking up or they're just participating and being a voice, that's profound in itself. So why create or what founded Juneteenth, just the point of them expressing it and allowing business. I walk down the street and I see the banks closed for Juneteenth. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Juneteenth? When did y'all start recognizing Juneteenth?
Hey, Target wrecking everybody.
I'm telling
My company didn't send the email and say a damn thing about Juneteenth on Friday. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And I know my owner's a Trump supporter. 2 Blacks at our company. You could have gave us Friday off. That's all I'm saying. Friday could have been a day off.
That's crazy because right after, and you're right, Nova, because it's publicized more. It was publicized.
I mean, the
bigger.
president of the United States mentioned it. It's not because Donald Trump is a great person. It's all about him and his position. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah. He's not a good person. He's not.
Not
at all.
Hey, he doesn't care. And when he goes home, when he's done being president, just like George Bush, he gonna ride on a helicopter on home. He gonna put his feet up, and as a country, we gonna be sitting here like we are fucking screwed. We gotta clean all this up as a country. Like, all right, cool.
I did like his show, The Apprentice, Celebrity Apprentice.
Okay.
And Apprentice. I did like that show. I watched it with the celebrities. I didn't watch it with what's her name, Omarosa. I didn't catch that one, but the one he did with the celebrity, she's crazy. She's baddie too.
But I love Omarosa, like, by the way. Just so y'all know, I am a big Omarosa fan.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, okay. God bless y'all. Stay woke.
But I'm very, very serious. Like, when I was reporting at CBS, right? I was at CBS and I got to go to the White House.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was sitting in the briefing room and Omarosa just walks in and the whole room stops. And I'm just sitting here like this rookie ass reporter, even if you even want to call it that. Okay? So I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, oh, that's Omarosa. She is absolutely in person a very, very beautiful woman. Like she's extremely tall. Like I didn't expect her to look like that in person, because on television, like she doesn't look as beautiful as she really is. You know what I mean? And she came in and just like the whole room stopped and she's looking, and there's other reporters in there that could have just ran up on her. But she's looking at us like, I wish a nigga would. Okay? I sat in my seat. I ain't moving. I wasn't moving. I was like, shit, girl, I feel you.
I had a friend of mine, you probably know him. He's a rapper, DDM. He had an opportunity to interview her, or she interviewed him, whatever the case, because her new book was coming out. And I asked him, I said, how is she as a person? He said, man, she's like real cool, like real laid back, real down to earth. And I was like, wow, because, you know, we see her on TV and we's like, I called her, I said she a bitch, but he said she's like real laid back, real cool. So yeah.
Okay, so I remember it was Paul Warden who was telling the story about Omarosa, and he had said some real raunchy things. I'm not gonna repeat it, but yeah, she's for real behind closed doors. Like Omarosa is 1,000. Like I mean,
well, on camera you can tell she's off the chain. On camera,
yeah,
you know, if you think about it,
people don't
in a room full of those white men, you know, acting a fool like that. Come on, man, you got to stand your ground to be able to do that. Come on.
Yeah.
I have a cousin who acts just like Omarosa. Ooh, Lord. See, I shouldn't even be talking about the heifer. She done came through and was like, shut your ass up.
Out the studio.
She just like, sit your ass down. But no, I have a cousin who reminds me of Omarosa, and I swear to God, it's like the Lion King #2. You know, Scar's people, his whole tribe, and then like Mufasa and them. Like she thinks she Mufasa and them, and I'm Scar's people. Like that's how we.
Damn. It's like the Lion King.
I never paid attention to Omarosa like that. I never even until she was on the show, but I never even paid attention to what her personality was like or who she is as a person. Just kind of the reviews of what people thought of her, but it was never here nor there. I never even really watched the show, so I don't really know much about Omarosa. I'm sorry.
I mean, I know Angela Rye and Simone cannot stand her. Like they clowned her, they laughed her out when she got fired from the White House. I mean, Angela Rye just laughed her out, obnoxiously. Okay, laughed her ass out.
You're gonna catch all this belly full of laugh.
Right, but honestly, I feel like there are a lot of Black women who could really learn from her. Like she could really school them on communications, the industry, everything. Tell them how to move, because she's a hell of a chess player, whether you like it or not. She
can work at one of the NBA care buildings. She can work at one of my NBA care buildings for communication and help with communication. See, we can even give Omarosa a job at one of my NBA care buildings.
You get on my nerves, all the way on my nerves.
I'm gonna push these NBA care buildings. Think about that, NBA cares.
I would like to hear from her right now. I would like to see what Omarosa has to say about the climate right now. The racial tension, the climate. I mean, I think she messed up when she left out of the White House and hurry up and try to drop a book. I felt like that was dumb. Like, if she wanted to drop a tell-all, she was doing it too soon. Sean Spicer just had left. Spicy was on the outs, okay? And then he was in the process of releasing some information. Yeah, he was on the outs. And Huckabee came on in there. She slid on up in there. But
these names.
But I'm saying
was a Huckabee, yes.
Huckabee.
Every time when I hear his name, I think about Cat Williams. Remember you did that stand you follow was a Huckabee, yes? It was so funny. But go ahead.
But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. What was I saying? I forgot. I just he threw me off with your father was a Huckabee.
Omarosa dropping the book too soon.
Yeah, she dropped the book too soon. I think she should have waited. Like, you played chess. You ain't had to take that pawn right there because it wasn't going nowhere. You know what I mean?
Like, got more information.
It wasn't gonna do nothing. You could have just let it sit right there.
Yeah.
And then when
she could have got more information like Superhead. Yeah.
Where is she?
Superhead build a fact. She got
episode, Candy. Do not break them in like that.
The babes, and I'm like, huh? Who's that? I'm so out of it until Kay said Superhead. I'm like, I know who Superhead is.
She should have built her case like Superhead. Sometimes you gotta be. Superhead came out with that book. That was great. I'm sorry. That was one of the greatest books.
Okay, so slight announcement. Michael Cornish has hit me back, so he's gonna join us at like 11:35. So he should be in the waiting room. Michael Cornish has an organization called Dads United, and so I'm really excited to talk to him about this. I remember when I was like a little baby, and now it's like really getting big, and so we're gonna talk to him, and so he'll be joining us here in a little bit. But as we're kind of going into that, because Father's Day and stuff is coming up, so everybody had a great Juneteenth, right?
Absolutely.
All right, great.
Yes, I did.
Hey, I did laundry. I relaxed. It was Friday, and I was supposed to be in work, and I didn't have to be there. So my Juneteenth was fabulous.
Yes.
I'm a barbecue today. Dang,
I wish I was out there with you. I really
do. Barbecue today.
I'm seeing somewhere you are, Candy, and there ain't nothing but clouds over here.
Hey, Indy, it is hot as hell in Indianapolis. It is hot as hell. Okay, it's hot. It's hot.
Honestly, I'm looking at your video, and it looks like it's hot. Like, it looks
oh my God.
It looks like you're on a hot ass road trip right now.
Yes. Sit right in the driveway. Sitting in the driveway. Looking like I don't want to go out there. Thank God for air. Okay. Shit.
That is hilarious. So kind of on the more somber side of things, recently we of course had George Floyd's funeral, and Al Sharpton said, "Get your knee off our necks," which is now becoming a march for the 28th of August here in Washington, D.C. It is the memorial of the Martin Luther King march as well at the Lincoln Memorial. So we will be marching again on the 28th. Get your knee off our necks. But how about cut us loose from these trees? It's been 4 people who have been found hanging. Of the 4, 2 have been ruled a suicide without a investigation of a possible homicide. So we've just went ahead and ruled these as suicide. Now, one particularly, the teen that was found, his name, I don't have his name based on this article, but it's an unidentified Black teenager found at an elementary school in Texas.
Yes.
They said based on surveillance and witnesses, this was in fact a suicide. So that has been ruled a suicide. We don't have his name and age.
Witnesses.
Right. You just watched him.
Yeah, they said the community.
So you mean to tell me you watched a teenager climb up and hang themselves? Like, what do you mean? I don't understand.
That don't make sense, right?
They don't.
They said based on what the community said, what the
surveillance said, that this baby had hung himself. But why from a tree? That's the we don't debate the fact that we're having that our black people deal with suicides. We're talking about, are we really going to a damn tree and hanging ourselves?
And speaking of which, there was another incident that I just read today, that young man was in the back of a patrol car, handcuffed,
and he shot himself in the head.
And they shot himself. So tell me, how in the blue hell can you shoot yourself with your hands cuffed behind your back? Like you got to be hell of
But
a
this story was a
talented.
couple years. This was a few years back, though. This isn't actually a recent incident. They're pushing to reopen
Okay.
this case
Okay.
because yeah. But I remember the story. I think it's about maybe 2 or 3 years ago where they had said that this young man had did this, but they're pushing to reopen the case. Yeah.
It just comes to show how these cops for years could just say any shit and just get away with it, and they just
and that's what they do. That's what they do.
Got away with it for years, and it's just this year in 2020 that we're like, no, nigga, we ain't doing that no more. Y'all can't just get away with these reports.
I mean, you got to think about when I hear stuff like this, when they're getting away with like murder, think about how they're getting away with rape. Okay. Yes. How many women, like I worry about women a lot when it comes to the police, because it's like you can be raped. There was a black woman who was taken on the side of the road and searched for 11 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just like, and even in Kansas.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Nisa.
No, I'm saying, but I just read an article just on the victim, the system in itself. It's like and being a victim once, it's like you get into the system looking for help, but by the time they interrogate you, it's almost like you were the damn problem. You know what I'm saying? And there's no support when it comes down to protecting the victim, because they assassinate your character. They put you in a position to think about whether or not a crime was even committed against you. There's nothing really protecting the victim when anything happens, and being in that situation myself, it made me feel horrible. It made me feel like I had nobody backing me up. My case was almost made to be taken as like irrelevant. It wouldn't stand in court. I had no legs to stand on. They gave me no support. And so I can almost imagine what a rape victim could feel like, or anybody in the system, especially, our people going and, having issues. Absolutely.
I think about Rashad Brooks and that arrest video and how people say, why did he resist? And I think about what we've been watching for the past couple of weeks, how George Floyd did not resist. He was doing everything, obviously, that he was supposed to do, and he ended up dead. So just maybe the thought in that black man's mind, like, if I get arrested right now, I might not live. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna take my chances and run. You know what I mean? Like, the whole ordeal is just so sad that our life means nothing like that. And like, we can just be hung, we can be beat. Like you're saying, rape. Think about how many young men, young women get their ass whooped and not killed. You know what I mean? Think about that. In a cop car, in possession of the police, how they literally get their ass kicked, and nobody, says anything. Nobody knows anything. And that's sad. I actually looking for the story. One of the guys that was hung, his stepbrother is also dead from getting into a shootout with the police. I was trying to find that story. Like, what the hell is that?
That was the guy that was in California. I'm not sure which one. Because there's Malcolm Harsh, who's 38. He was hung in Victorville, California. Well, found hanging, I should say. Found hanging in Victorville, California. Robert Fuller, age 24. He was found across the street from City Hall in Palmdale, California. So
I believe it's that young man's stepbrother.
Yeah, he's hanging across the street from City Hall. And the other one, Dominique Alexander, he's 27. He was found in New York in like Manhattan Park. That was ruled a suicide.
So that's what they're doing now.
Well, I said when they tried to pass lynching as a federal hate crime, passed a law saying that lynching was a federal hate crime. I said that that's not going to matter. Because if there's no homicide, there's no federal charges for a hate crime. So they're going to rule these deaths as as suicides. You know what I mean? So I don't get excited when they're saying let's make sure that we make this a federal hate crime. I mean, like when I look at the bill that they have going around, like I said, Tamala Harris and Cory Booker, reforming, this policing act that they're reforming. I actually am disappointed. I'm disappointed in the whole bill because they're missing the whole point. They're missing the whole point. They're not even talking about, I guess you could say, maybe nepotism. When you have police officers who are maybe sheriffs and chiefs, and their relatives are police officers, and ex-police officers in the community they're still friends with. So when they commit crimes and they kill people, but they're connected somehow through family, in-laws, whatever the case may be, to the police department, the investigation, there's never going to be an investigation.
Like George Zimmerman, correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, exactly. But like more recent, Tamala Horsford, the woman who was found dead at the party when she went to the party with 7 white women.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Those people, all of them, they have relationships with the police department. And because of that, when they basically did the autopsy, they didn't even take pictures of her body, which is unheard of. So when they reopen this case, be prepared to be disappointed, because the small intricate parts were not done. So you have relationship between the police force, and then you got a relationship between the police force and the coroner's office. So that's a set of relationships right there. And then you got a relationship with the criminals in the community that are doing wild shit that you're not even investigating. They have to write something to go to put some type of rule, some type of law in when it comes to being related to people within the force, investigators, coroners, and that sort of stuff. Because we're never going to get a fair shake when it comes to an investigation if they don't. And then the other thing I have an issue with is they want, when they address the militarization of the police force, when they address this, okay, they addressed the equipment, military grade equipment. Mm-hmm. But you're not addressing what the police force is who the police force is being equipped with.
Mm-hmm. The personnel.
The personnel. So if you have a lot of these men coming from the military doing tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, over the past 20 years, we've been over there in the Middle East. Okay. So if you have people coming home who have been in combat-like situations, and then you put them, okay, in a community where they have no relationship with the people, no understanding of the culture, it is going to be disastrous. And not only that, you're putting them in a community of poor people. Let's be clear here. Low-income families, people who do not have patience. One thing I've realized moving from the suburbs into the hood and living around Black folks, we are the most impatient people I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm keeping it real. People will flip out over a line in a grocery store. I mean, I've seen people ready to come to blows. Like, we don't have patience. So when it comes to a police officer who don't give a fuck about me, excuse my language, but that's just what it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm on my way somewhere and you come over here and you messing with me. I don't even have the patience to deal with you.
Is it that we don't have the patience, or is it that our anxiety levels are so high and we have what did you say?
PTSD.
PTSD. I don't know why I want to always forget the T. I believe there's a lot of trauma and stress in our community from the time we're young. So we're just like on the edge. You know what I mean? Like the burden that we carry being young, Black, old Black in America, all the forgiveness in the name of Jesus that we have to do. We're on the edge. You know what I mean? Like we're almost on I wish a motherfucker would mode all the time. You know what I mean? And it's it's scary and it has to be addressed. You know what I mean? Like that's the truth.
We need communication classes in our community so we can learn how to communicate with each other.
I think that the police officers should have to live in their communities. What happened to that?
Well, I was saying amongst Black people, we're going to get to that, but we do have our guests waiting to come in. So sorry to interrupt you, Candy. We're going to bring our guests in.
You're good.
All right. So we're going
he's trying to connect his camera.
Okay. So we'll bring him in just a second. But like you said, I think that they should police their own community. However, I think in our community, if we have better communication among one another, that will bring us together as one. We'll start communicating together. And then when it comes to issues of police brutality as a community, if we address it together and we're all communicating, speaking the same language, I think that we could get further when it comes to having control over who polices our community. We'll make more progress.
I think if we got with the producers of Law and Order, because they always get it right, Benson and Ice-T always get it right. If we get with the producers of Law and Order, we can get the police force together. I'm telling you. Y'all watch Law and Order.
I'm not dealing with you. I'm not dealing
Law
with
and Order gets it, but I tell you what, with Law and Order, you see that the police department is crooked. The police department is crooked, and Benson ain't going for it. Benson ain't going, and she don't care. She would put you in jail. So if we get with Benson to get it together, I'm telling y'all. And Ice-T.
I agree.
The producers of Law and Order and the producers of The Simpsons. We'll get all this shit together. Right now.
20 years. They had it down for 20 years now.
Yeah, they've been predicting. They've been spot on for real. Like the episodes, like Trump being in the coffin, he's dying.
That's it.
Right.
The producers to The Simpsons, the producers to Law and Order, and Medea to make sure don't nobody get out of line, and we will get all this shit in order.
Did she say Medea?
Medea.
Yeah, Medea. Just in case somebody need an ass whooping.
You get on my nerves, not Medea. Hey, so what are you guys thinking about? There's this new movie coming out this is for the culture. There's this new movie coming out called Cracker.
I seen that.
It's called Cracker.
I haven't seen the preview.
Cracker, like this cracker over here, Cracker. But I'm not calling nobody Cracker. That's the name of the.
Okay.
It's called Cracker, and it's a shocking new series.
Is it on Netflix?
They're saying this is actually a headline right here. Cracker, shocking new series glorifies the killing and raping of white people.
Oh shit!
That's what it says.
Who's the producer? Who's the director? Spike Lee? This got to be a Spike Lee production.
Honestly, it sounds like a Spike Lee, yo. It sounds like a Spike Lee movie.
Honestly, I don't know if I want to watch.
I don't think I want to participate in something like, watch something like that.
What they're trying to do is basically help white people to reimagine slavery, and if it was us who enslaved them. And I just don't. I don't think that that's good for my spirit.
I got a question. I just need white people to watch A Time to Kill and let Matthew McConaughey break it down.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Have we not seen A Time to Kill?
That comes on Bounce TV all the time, but when it does, I turn the channel because I can't watch it today. I'm serious. I get angry.
Yeah,
that was a damn good movie, though.
Yeah,
damn good movie.
It came on last week. Actually, beginning of this week. It's a real good movie. How Matthew just broke it down. He was like, close your eyes, and he was narrating, and he said, "Now, what if she was white?" And the faces was like, So
Carl was free. Carl was free.
Nova. This show that you're talking about, what is it coming on, like Netflix or Hulu? Where's it coming on?
Say that again. Okay. Where's it coming on? Sorry, I was reading it. I'm trying to find out where they're going to play it. I'm gonna have to read more. I just seen the headline. I had saw something earlier on it. This new series.
Because movie theaters aren't open just yet, right?
Not until next month.
Okay.
Well, AMC is next month.
Yeah.
Well, this article reads, actually, The self-hating white writer explains the synopsis of his new series. So this is a white writer.
Yeah, it's a British drama too. They're British. They always come with it.
Honestly, my favorite Netflix series by the Brits is Peaky Blinders. I love Peaky Blinders. No, I love Peaky Blinders. It is so dope to me. I love any movie that's like in the early 1900s, like that song. Oh, I love the costume. I love the politics at the time. I love how you get money underground because of bootleg and all that other type of stuff. I love that type of stuff. I really do.
So who's the producer of the movie?
His
Eminem.
You were so irritating.
His name is I see him though.
Let Eminem tell it. Eminem will tell white folks how they are. Eminem will put it all out there. Y'all ain't shit.
Eminem is like that white step cousin because he was like the first one born, so he's the only white child.
That just going through
it. What, Jimmy McGovern?
Okay. What's it again, Anissa?
Jimmy McGovern.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Jimmy McGovern.
Yeah, I just came across that though. I was like, wait a minute, I forgot to mention this, but I'm gonna follow it and see. Yeah. But anyway, Candy, so my white friends actually cash at me for Juneteenth. I meant to say that in Juneteenth.
Yeah.
No, just those two. I mean, like, it was just like really, really cool. I had posted that article. Shout out to Sarah Fraser, who's like been such a great help to me in the industry. Love her to death. So sad she's leaving to LA, but I'm so happy for her because I know she's ready to really do big things, which she will. And shout out to my homeboy Chris Seavey from back home. He hooked the sister up. Black Pie, I appreciate that. That was some good laundry money, some other things before I go ahead and make a move to Kansas City next week. So I will be broadcasting live from Kansas City next week.
Well, I would like to say something. I'm taking applications for new white friends. All of my white friends are single mothers of black kids, so they're unable to donate. So I'm great. I like to hang out. I'll play cornhole. Please send me something too. I need more white friends. I like the Colts. I like the Colts. I'm just playing. I'm a Chiefs fan. That's it. I want more white friends and stuff to tell them about us. I want to be Joel Osteen friend. Where the hell is Joel Osteen and Joyce Myers? I am looking for them. Where are they?
I saw Creflo last week though.
I know he was out at the march with a bucket.
Talking about that damn jet.
Y'all gotta pay y'all's tithes. Y'all gotta pay y'all's tithes for this fuel. All this. Give the money back.
I cannot with Creflo. You know what? I won't say that I'm surprised that we didn't hear from people like Joyce Myers, Rod Parsley. You know, those people I remember because I remember back in the day. Rob Parsley was real popular among black people. Jesse Duplantis, the old white dude with the white hair, very popular. Joyce Myers, just all these white evangelists and all this other stuff.
Joel Osteen. My mother is in shambles right now because I am calling out all her white pastors that are not here for the movement.
They're not. None of them are. None of them are. And I think that I remember going to a church back home, and I'm not going to say the name of the church, but I went to a white Pentecostal church, and let me tell you something, them white folks was racist as I don't know what. They were racist, and the only black people that worked in the in leadership roles did music, and his office was on the old side of the building. All the other people had the new offices. You know, I look back and I'm just like.
A lot of the old white men that are racist are Christians. And they are diehard Christians, and they believe that. Like they believe.
Well, I mean, they did use it to enslave us, so they gonna hold true to that Bible like that.
And that makes my mother mad when I tell her that too. My mama gets so mad when I tell her that Joyce Myers and it was Joel Osteen gave her that damn Bible, and now they nowhere to be found.
Oh, there you go out.
Oh, see, that's her mama. That's her mama telling her to shut up.
So this Sunday is Father's Day, right?
Yeah.
This Sunday is Father's Day.
Any plans? Anybody?
Cooking
Well,
out.
I'm going to be home next week, so I actually plan to get my dad a Father's Day gift to make my mom mad because I didn't get her a Mother's Day gift. So I'm gonna give my dad something for Father's Day. Just my mama. No, I'm just being funny. But no, I will see my dad like the next week. So I don't know. Maybe he and I can do something. We never really spend Father's Day together, like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe he and I can go get something to eat and just chill for a little bit and hang out, that sort of stuff. I'm hoping that when I do go home, I don't run into my brother. No, I'm just joking. I'm gonna leave that alone. Leave that off there.
If you do, just take your nephew with you.
I still have to see that video. I gotta see.
I know. I need to tag you guys in it. That Christmas video is off the chain. Like, but we were so lit. Like, it was to a point where my mom had to get my older sister to take the bottle and hide it. Because we was lit.
Did y'all have on Christmas sweaters? We had matching
pajamas. We had matching
pajamas.
Oh my God.
What about you, E? What you got planned for Father's Day?
Yes.
Cookout. Linnea, my fiance, her dad is coming over.
Hashtag Black Love.
Yeah. He's coming over. We just gonna cook out on the grill and
that's exciting.
Today, yeah.
What y'all gonna put on the grill?
Salmon. Make a really salmon. Is it salmon or salmon?
I don't even know.
I think Americans pronounce it salmon, but in other places I've heard, like other cultures, I've heard them say salmon or it's you know.
Because I got
smacked. What does Siri say? What does Siri say?
Hey Siri, how do you pronounce salmon?
I found an answer. It's displayed on your iPhone.
She just found the answer. Is it my Siri? I don't know about your series, whoever got iPhones, but my Siri is lazy as shit. Like, she don't want to search. Yeah, she don't want to search for nothing. I found the answer here. Go look
Siri
for yourself.
Siri is rude.
Your Siri from a trailer park. Siri from a trailer park.
I asked Siri, I said, how do you spell something? I have the answer here. And I had to look. I was like, can you spell it out for me? Like, and I guess he looked at me like, you asked it for a little bit too much.
Siri, we're gonna have to discuss your salary, Siri.
Meanwhile, Alexa over here giving burping tutorials and farting tutorials over here. Alexa, you tell her to do anything, she just do it.
I swear we are the Jetsons. We're almost there. Siri, Alexa, we're almost there.
What did The Simpsons say? What episode of The Simpsons are we at right now?
I don't know. I cannot watch The Simpsons. I don't know. It's just one of them cartoons that I've never been a huge. I think when I was a kid, I used to watch it because it used to come on after Martin, I think.
Yeah.
Simpsons used to come on after Martin, but I don't know. I just never was really big on Simpsons.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch cartoons. I never watch cartoons. I only watch TV shows. Martin Living Single, Fresh Prince. I only watch TV shows. A Different World. I did not watch cartoons. I did not. Yeah, I still can't do it.
I watched The Simpsons, but as soon as that went off, my mother was like, "Y'all can't watch." We weren't allowed to watch Love and Marriage.
Yes, Love and Marriage did come on after Simpsons.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Maybe we would switch channels. I don't know. I can't remember. It was something that used to come on before The Simpsons, and I can't think. I don't think it was Martin.
Was it Roseanne? I like Roseanne too. I'm sorry.
I watch Roseanne every night.
Roseanne and Liam, they're white trash, and they knew it, and I just can't believe it. How can white people think they are quality after Roseanne? like what?
I don't know.
Like, think about their shows. Think about some of the white shows. Roseanne, Golden Girls. They was a bunch of hoes who lived in the same house. They couldn't afford their own place. Like, think about this shit. Like, come on, man. Come on. Martin was cool. Living Single was cool. The Cosbys, they had bread. Roseanne, they was broke. Dan didn't have shit. He went to jail.
They look broke. That was the thing. That's why I couldn't. It was depressing for me. Like,
and Becky married broke ass Mark. He didn't have an education. Think about this shit. They went to the Ozarks.
They lived in a whole
come on, man. Jackie got her ass beat by her boyfriend. Come on, man. Think about this shit. This is great. These are white people.
Wait a minute, the mama came out as a lesbian on Thanksgiving.
Come on. Come on, out of nowhere. Like, what is this? This is white people.
Hey, for real, after watching it now, Roseanne's mom is one of my favorites. Her and Jackie are like batshit crazy together. Like, they are hilarious. Like, her mom is so funny. The mom
DJ was retarded. DJ was retarded and weird. Come on, man. Yeah, that was a quality show. That's America. That's white America. That is white America. I'm telling you that right now.
DJ was that kid that used to have to take the nurse come in the classroom while doing reading time, and they come and give them that little blue pill. I remember when I started going to high school. When I was in white schools and during reading time, we all be sitting down, and then the nurse would come in, and it'd be like these particular white kids that they would give like these blue pills to. And I never really understood it. And then now that I look back, they was the ones that would be in there like throwing desks, going crazy and stuff.
Those are bad kids.
Man,
they were bad kids.
This white kid named Jeremiah, I used to sit at my desk and just be waiting for him to pop off because it would be so funny. It would be so funny. He would pop off so bad, like, oh my God, he was crazy. He would get up and throw the desk and just do all type of wild stuff, and I'd just be sitting there.
You want to know what's crazy? Right now, Jeremiah is a senator some fucking where. That's what's crazy. Right now, Jeremiah is a mayor of a county. He is a congressman somewhere. Ain't that what's crazy?
Is he really?
I don't know, but that just happens for white folks.
At least they're looking at us like, what?
No, maybe he works for Joe Osteen right now. I don't know.
Yeah,
you get on my nerves. So, well, before we get off of here, we do definitely want to make sure we say Happy Father's Day to E. Digger. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues on our end with bringing Michael Cornish in, so we'll hopefully be able to get him another time. We kind of wanted to do it for the Father's Day special, but that's all right. You know, we'll keep it moving. I hope that everybody looks forward to different guests that we'll have join us. And for those of you who are tuned in and watching and sharing, commenting, and all that other great stuff, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching the first episode of the BWC, the Baltimore Washington Connection. I am the Nova Pearl, known as the host of the Way We Talk radio show. You can follow my Instagram. I am Nova Pearl. And then also you can add me on Facebook, Nova Pearl, and make sure you like the BWC Facebook page. And to the other host of the show, however y'all want to slide on out of here, going ahead.
I just want to say Happy Father's Day to all the daddies, all the fathers, all the positive men that take care of their kids, even the men that don't take care of their kids because they know they pieces of shit. God bless y'all for not being in your kids' life, ruining their lives.
Hey, this is, man, you all know I love E. Digger. Wishing all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day tomorrow. All the true fathers, all the stepfathers, any man who has stepped in to that father role, make sure you uphold it. Teach the children something different. Teach them values, like my father did. So, shout out to you guys.
He summed it up for me. This is Anissa Maureen. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed myself. I can't wait to come back next Saturday. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Peace.
All right.
Great.
Allah.
Deuce.